Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're doing my top Oculus Quest 2 and some PCVR titles of games that I think should have a bigger player base. Now, these are games that have either come out on PCVR or the Oculus Quest 2 that, I really like playing, and obviously they're multiplayer titles, and the player base is not that large. So sometimes you can still get a few games in there, and I'll talk about that as I'm talking about the games, and if the game is completely dead, or you can actually get some matches in there, because they're not all dead. But I still think that all of these games deserve bigger player bases. Some of the games, like I said, may be dead and you can't play it at all unless you go in there with friends. Some of the games you have to go in there at specific times and stuff like that for you to be able to actually have some matches to be able to play. So I want to talk about these games because I think these games are really fun in my opinion, and I think it should be on people's radars if they're looking for new games to play with their friends and stuff like that in VR, because I think these are fantastic, especially some of these on these lists that are kind of forgotten at this point. So before we get into the video, I also want to talk about the fact that if you guys want to support this channel for free, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as usual. But also, if you guys want to get $60 of free credit to use on the Oculus Quest store and $60 from me, so you can help support the channel so I can bring you more reviews and stuff, go ahead and use my referral link down in the video below. Right now until the 31st, you can get $60 of referral credit. After the 31st of December, you can still get $30 of referral credit if you buy an Oculus Quest 2. So the link is still good regardless. So if you guys want to help out the channel, that's an easy way to do it. Other than that, guys, let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming tech is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
So the first one here coming in at number 15 is Medal of Honor Above and Beyond, a game that is on Oculus Quest 2 and PCVR. And I know a lot of people had issues with this game, and some of the issues are valid, but overall, I think this is one of my favorite VR games that have come out on PC in a while, especially when in the multiplayer. And the multiplayer on PC has the best graphics of any shooter I've ever played on PC in VR so far. And it's a lot of fun to play. It's not that it just looks like the best game. It also is really, really fun to play. Definitely reminds me of the old school Medal of Honor, and it's fantastic. Now, I do like the PC version a lot better just because those graphics are amazing to look at and nothing that I've seen before in a shooter. It is now on the Quest as well, and they did a really good job of actually being able to get this game to be ported over, which is insane. So I would still recommend it on the Quest 2. All the functionality and all the multiplayer stuff is still there. But the PC is definitely, where I play it the most, and I'm sad that they didn't do crossplay. Medal of Honor Above and Beyond.
So who's gonna be captain?
The next one here is an old game that some of you guys probably remember, and that is Star Trek Bridge Crew. Now, this is a game that is also on PC and also on the Oculus Quest 2 that they ported over from Ubisoft. And they did a fantastic job with this one as far as bringing you into the feeling of playing Star Trek. If you guys ever wanted to live your dream of being on a ship and commanding the ship, being in that Star Trek lore and stuff like that, it's really, really cool. You get to play with your friends. You're all on a ship. There's 4 of you plus the captain, and there's one person as the captain, one person as the engineer, one person, and everyone's designated to do their own thing. So, you may have the captain that's telling everybody the orders on what to do, and then the engineer is working on making sure the ship is stable, and then someone else is controlling the ship, making sure it goes to the right destination. There's a lot of variety in the missions that happen because they're all procedurally generated. There's a lot of fun to be had with this one. I think the reason that this one's not more popular than what it is because there are some bugs in the multiplayer and that were never fixed, unfortunately, when this game came out, because Ubisoft kind of dropped it really fast, which is really, really unfortunate. Even when they ported it over to the Quest 2, which only came out, obviously, I think it's been a year now, they obviously didn't update it very much after that, which is disappointing. But what's here is still a lot of fun with friends, especially if you're a Star Trek fans. Definitely want to check out Star Trek Bridge Crew. The next one here coming in at number 13 is a PCVR exclusive for this one, and that is Sports Bar VR. So this is a PCVR game that's also been around for a really long time that I played back in the day, and I still wish that there was more people. Even when it came out, I thought there should be more people in the game. Basically, it's a giant bar that you get to hang out in. There's a bunch of mini games everywhere. There's darts, there's air hockey, there's chess, there's checkers. A lot of different things. It's like hanging out in a bar with your friends, and there's pool in the game, all this different stuff, and the pool works really well, skee ball works really well, shuffleboard, all these different mini games that are all just in a bar, and I thought they did a really good job with this one. A game that I think that would probably do really well on the Quest if they actually ported it over, but I don't think this company's making, or it doesn't seem like they're making any VR games currently. They've also stopped supporting this, but the game works really well. The servers are still online.
and you can sometimes pop in and find people in there, but it's mostly dead. I wish more people would play it. Going in here with friends is still a really fun time if you have people who have VR that you can go in here with. Sports Bar VR coming in at number 13. The next one coming in at number 12 is a relatively new game that I don't think gets a lot of attention on the Quest 2 and PC platform. That is Larcenates. So Larcenates is a game, if you think of what Overwatch would be in VR, this is what it would be. Everyone gets to pick a character. They all have their own special abilities. And there's, team objective, just like there is in Overwatch where you're trying to, hold different points on the map. And everyone has their character using their own abilities and they all do their own different things. A lot of fun. It's obviously like a kind of like a hero shooter, that is not really seen in VR, one of the first of its kind, and they are still updating it. It did get a lot better since the recent update, and there is a player base. I just think it deserves a higher player base. So you can definitely find matches in this one to be able to play. I just think it deserves a higher player base even what it has, because it is a ton of fun. The movement system is really cool. I just think that they need to nail the next DLC, because it seems like the first DLC hero character that they came out with was uninspiring to some people because it was just a sniper class, but it would still be a lot of fun. So, Larcenates coming in at number 12. Coming in at number 11 is another game that is on PC and the Oculus Quest as well, and that is Cookout, A Sandwich Tale. Cookout, A Sandwich Tale is a game that, for all you guys who like games like Overcooked and stuff, where you're all working together, there's 4 of you guys, and you're trying to make these sandwiches and stuff based on what the customers want at the window. Some of them want cheeseburger, some of them want burger, some of them want tomatoes, some of them want ketchup on it, some of them want mustard. And you're doing this, but the catch is that everybody has different ingredients in front of themselves. So one person out of the 4 members of your group may have the bread in front of them, the other may have the burgers, and they have to cook it on their side. So everyone's doing their own different thing. It definitely feels like Overcooked in VR. I'm actually surprised that this game is not more popular than it is, based on the fact and how popular Overcooked is as a franchise on the 2D space. But this game is done really, really well. It's by Resolution Games, and we all know how good of a job they do in every other game that they've made, to be honest. I like almost every game that they've come out with. And this game is no exception. It's a lot of fun if you guys are fans of cooperative games like this, especially cooperative cooking games like this. It's definitely not one to be missed. There is a shortage of people online playing it, but if you can get in there with your friends, it's definitely a lot of fun, and it definitely deserves a higher player base and deserves a spot on this list. That is Cookout, A Sandwich Tale. The next one on this list is Dance Central, another game again on the Oculus Quest and the PC platform. This one is, of course, by Harmonix, the makers of Rock Band, and this game is just a ton of fun. They did an outstanding job with the environment in here in multiplayer. You can come in here in multiplayer, and basically you're all in a lobby with 3 of your friends, and it looks like you're in like a club, and you're all dancing either cooperatively against each other to try and get the highest score, whether it be cooperatively or against each other with, I think there's like about 35 different tracks in the game. The only unfortunate thing is again, this is another game that they're not adding more DLC songs to. They did release a few at the beginning, but they're no longer doing it. But there's still a bunch of tracks on here to enjoy, a lot of the tracks that a lot of us know. And it's a lot of fun to play with your friends, and the environment of being in that club environment and multiplayer is really, really fun to see your friends and have cooperative dance battles or versus each other. And what's really cool is also the social aspect of it. You actually start a dance battle by like doing weird things like throwing your cell phone on the floor, going up to the bar and getting a drink, or just dancing in front of the DJ. Just adds this cool element when you're playing multiplayer. This one's a lot of fun. We all know this game from the Kinect days, and I'm surprised that it's not more popular as well for all of us. There is some times where I get in and there are some people playing, which is really good to see, but I also think that this game also deserves a higher player base because there's not a lot of games like this, and I think this one's really fun. I wish Harmonix would add more songs to this game because it definitely deserves it, but what's here is still a lot of fun, even with what's already there. So that is Dance Central on the Oculus Quest and PC. The next one here, coming in at number 9, is another game by Ubisoft on this list. And this is one of the first games that I remember playing on the PC that I was really super excited about because I was a really big, and I still am, a really big shooter fan. I love games like Unreal Tournament and Quake, and this game gave me those vibes in space when it was first announced by Ubisoft. and I remember counting down the days for when this game came out, and that is called Space Junkies. Space Junkies is a shooter in space that you're, and the gravity and stuff like that that you're dealing with, and it's an arcade shooter. Like I said, it has vibes of Quake and Unreal Tournament and stuff like that. It's very fast paced, moving around in space, shooting your enemies and stuff. It is a ton of fun to play, nothing like anything else that I've still played, and I'm really, really upset that they have not ported this over to the Quest. It looks like Ubisoft has no interest in doing that with most of their games, besides that Star Trek game that they did port over. And it's unfortunate because I think this game will do really well, because it definitely sets itself apart with the movement and being in space and the gravity and stuff in the game, and how fast-paced the game is. It is a ton of fun, looks fantastic on PC. It is hard to get games on this right now on the PC platform, being it came out in like 2017, I think is what it was now. But if you can get some friends in there, the servers are still online, and I definitely should tell you that this is one that you should definitely play if you can with your friends, because it's amazing fun, especially if you like shooters. Space Junkies coming in at number 9. The next one on this list is another game that is unfortunately only on the PC, and this one's by Servios, a company that we're all familiar with, and that is Sprint Vector. Sprint Vector is, if you guys, obviously you're familiar with franchises like Mario Kart and stuff like that, and this kind of reminds me of that, but this is a running game. So definitely get yourself a workout in this game. Basically, the idea is that there's a bunch of runners on there. There's a different variety of tracks in the game, and you're basically running as fast as you can through these tracks, dipping and dodging and moving away from different platforms, hopping all over the place, and you're grabbing power-ups just like you do in Mario Kart on the field that you can sometimes hit your opponent with, or do speed dashes and stuff like that. The movement system in this game is so much fun. One of the most unique games that I've ever played in VR so far. There's nothing even close to this game still to this day, even though this game released back in 2017, and it's so much fun. 8-player racing, 21 different courses, they're all varied from each other. Graphics are fun, the gameplay still holds up today. Like I said, if you guys like racing games like Mario Kart but want a different take on it, this is definitely that. And again, a game that you're not going to find a lot of people playing online currently, but if you can get your friends in there, and they do have AI that you can play against, which is why I still play this game all the time, because I still have a blast just playing the AI. But if you can get your friends in there, even better. So much fun, such a cool and unique look to this game. If Servios is listening, maybe they'll bring this over to the Quest one day, because I also think this game would do really, really well on the Quest. Sprint Vector coming in at number 8.
Good game, guys. GG.
The next one here coming in at number 7 is a Dead and Buried series. So not just the second one, but also the first one. So let's talk about the second one first. This is the one that's on the Quest and PC platform. This game is a ton of fun, another shooter, but very unique in its style and its art style, of course, as you're looking at here. A lot of fun to play with your friends. It obviously has a deathmatch, team deathmatch. It has a bunch of different characters that you can be. The graphics are really fun, and it's definitely one of my favorite shooters on the Quest. Definitely think it deserves a higher player base. Really, really fun. Very different than the first one. The first one here that you guys are looking at here, we all remember when we first got the Rift, and this game is more of a room scale game, because I remember playing this game when it first came out on the Rift and just being amazed by what you can do in this game, because not only were you shooting each other and moving around like a regular, shooter in VR, but this game actually had you on different platforms, and you would dodge and dip around your enemies, and you would go into different sections of the map, and as you're killing each other, you'd be brought to different areas of the map. It was so much fun. The first one on the PC, and it still is to this day. Obviously, not a lot of people are playing it online, but if you can get your group of friends in this one too, really, really fun, and still a lot of fun to play. But between the second and the first one, the second one, of course, still does have a player base, just not a large one. On the Quest 2, you can still find people playing that game, and it's a ton of fun, and I definitely recommend you do it. On the PC for Dead and Buried, the original, if you want to play it online, you're going to obviously have to find some friends to bring them along with you to get on those servers, but one of my fondest memories is playing this game on the Quest or the Rift platform when it first came out, and it still holds up. It's a ton of fun. Definitely remember playing this game and thinking, wow, VR is going to go places. And I'm having a ton of fun with both of these. Dead and Buried coming in at number 7. The next one here coming in at number 6 is a game called Wands. This one is on the Oculus Quest and the PC platform as well. Wands is a game, if you guys are fans of dueling games where you're basically playing 1v1, this is definitely a game for you in multiplayer. You're basically dueling with wizard powers and wands 1v1. Obviously, you can get different gear and stuff, and you can change up your wands, and then each one has their own special abilities that you can put on your wand, and then you can go into a match and use the abilities that you just unlocked and start dueling. And what's cool is you can actually duel the AI as well, so even if you can't find somebody online, you can duel people. This game also deserves a higher player base because obviously it's just a ton of fun. Not a lot of dueling games in VR, and this one being magic-based. I don't think there's any other magic-based dueling game like this where it's fun 1v1. The environments are cool to be in, the powers and effects that you're using are really cool. battle to the death makes me feel like I'm basically Harry Potter in VR, using my wizard powers and just throwing these magic spells across the room, trying to kill the other opponent. Really, really cool. The spells are unique and a lot of fun to play. Definitely one that I think went under a lot of people's radar. I think people would have a lot of fun with this one if they gave it a chance. That is Wands coming in at number 6. The next one here coming in at number 5 is a game called Space Team VR. Now, I don't know how many people recognize this game from being the board game, because there is a board and card game as well. And they brought this over to VR. So basically, you and a bunch of your friends, 3 of your other friends, have to control this ship and not let it go down. So basically, every time there will be prompts above your head, and each person has different prompts. So it will be like, hey, fix these controls, and one person will have those controls. Some things will catch on fire. Sometimes you'll have to do different things in front of you, and each person has their own unique thing. So you'll see on the top of the board, enable button A, and only the one person will have button A. So you're screaming across to your friend, hey, you have to hit that button, and then the next person, and then you'll see prompts over and over again. Aliens come aboard the ship, you have to shoot them across the sky. Really, really fun. It even has some multiplayer that you can play with your phone, so one person can be in VR, and then everybody else can be using their phones to tell the person in VR what to do, which is a cool way to play as well. A lot of fun with multiplayer on this one. Definitely one I recommend you check out. Space Team VR. The next one on this list, coming in at number 4, is a game that I still play to this day. There is a player base, though a small one, and that is Solaris Offworld Combat. I love games like Unreal Tournament, and I love games like Quake, and this game reminds me of that in spades. Definitely feels different than any other shooter on the Oculus Quest platform. It's a lot of fun to play. The only unfortunate thing is they unfortunately have given up on this game. It seems like they're not adding any more updates from what it looks like. They haven't since the summer. And there hasn't been any new DLC maps or anything. But regardless of that, to be honest, even if they never add anything else again with the servers stay up, I can still have hours and hours of fun playing this with friends. It's 4v4 or 2v2 or 3v3, depending on how many players are in the match. Deathmatch, team deathmatch, all that kind of stuff. The art style is fantastic. The shooting feels great. I'm surprised that there's not more people playing this. I know that there were some hiccups in the beginning, but the game is a ton of fun to play now. Even if they don't add anything else to it, I still recommend everybody check it out because it doesn't feel like anything else on the Quest. Solaris Offworld Combat. The next one on this list is for people who love mini games, and that is Loco Dojo Unleashed. For all you guys who love games like Mario Party and stuff like that, and you want a game like that in VR, this is a game just like that. There is a board in front of you. You and your 3 friends are navigating around the board, trying to be the person who gets the black belt the fastest. And in order to do that, you have to win mini games. There's 16 different mini games in the game, and they're all using different variety of techniques that you use in VR. Ton of fun with your friends. And then obviously you can play with your friends, and you can also play offline with AI. So there is AI that you can play with as well to try and get the black belt as well. But obviously the most fun comes when you're playing with your friends. And this was a really good one. Not a lot of games like this in VR either, especially on the Quest. To have a party game like this with your friends, that feels like a Mario Party take, in my opinion. So definitely one not to be missed if you're fans of that genre. Loco Dojo Unleashed coming in at number 3. The next one here coming in at number 2 is a game that I still talk about on a lot of lists because I still don't think this game gets the love it deserves, and that is Dash Dash World. I am a really big fan of racing games, especially arcade racers, and especially Mario Kart, and this game is that game brought to life in VR. I really don't think there's anything missing in this game because the tracks are all so well designed. They're all varied from each other. They all feel different from each other. They have all different art styles. None of them is the same. There's 8-player multiplayer online. There's a career mode for single player. You can play AI online if you want to. There's a ton of customization to customize your car, your hands, your controls in front of you. There's like 8 different ways to be able to play the game depending on what your comfort level is like. When it comes to comfort, you can either drive behind the car, in the car, a bunch of different ways. You'll find a comfortable way to play this game. If you guys are nervous about, getting sick in VR, don't, because there's a ton of options in this game, as you're seeing here on the screen. They have everybody covered, and the game is just a ton of fun. It has, of course, while you're racing, the Mario Kart style power-ups on the board that you're picking up, and it's really fun to use in VR. Sometimes you're speeding, sometimes you're shooting things at your enemies to go around them. All the different things that you expect in a racing kart racer like this. And they're still updating this game. They have added new tracks over the years since they've made it. They've added new updates, and I hope that they continue to do so. There's over 10 in the game currently, and I hope that they continue to do so in 2022 because there is a ton of fun to be had with this one. And it definitely is one of my top 2 games that definitely deserves a higher player base than it has. There is some players online that you can play, especially during the evening hours, but it is sometimes hard to find players online. Luckily, the AI is still a ton of fun to play this game. But guys, don't miss this game and check it out. It's a ton of fun. Dash Dash World coming in at number 2. And the number 1 game on this list, I guarantee you, is a game that a lot of you guys have probably never even played or heard of, especially those of you guys who are just getting in VR, because this game also came out back in like 2016 or 2017 on PCVR only, and is still unfortunately only on PCVR, and that is Werewolves Within. So I don't know how many of you guys are board game fans watching this, but I love Werewolves, the board game and the card game that exists in the real world, and they brought this game to life. And this also was another game made by Ubisoft. 3 games on this list by Ubisoft that they actually did a really good job on, and just didn't get the love and attention it deserved by them and by some of the folks out there as well. And Werewolves Within is basically bringing that card game to life. You're all sitting around a table, and you all get a card in your hand, and there's going to be werewolves on a team, and there's going to be villagers on the team. And the idea is that you need to suss out and figure out who are the werewolves among you. There may be 1, or there may be 2, or there may be 3, and you're all talking to each other each night, and then each night you kill somebody off, and you vote in the group who they think the werewolf is, and you're trying to eliminate and find the werewolf among you. Different powers and different cool things that you can do in VR to help you find out who that person is. The social aspect in this game definitely tells you how awesome a game like this can be in VR. And someone needs to remake this game. If Ubisoft doesn't want to make this game in VR after they brought it to the PC and bring it to the Quest, then somebody else needs to, because this game deserves the Quest platform to have a giant player base, because I know that this game will succeed, because this game is hugely popular in the board game space, and there's no reason why it wouldn't be in VR as well. The reason it's not popular anymore is because this came out in the very beginning days of VR, where there was already a small base to begin with, so the multiplayer only had a small niche. So now that it's only stuck on PCVR, and a lot of people haven't even heard about it until I'm talking about it in this video, that's probably why it didn't get the player base it deserves. But I'm here to tell you that if you can get your friends in there, you can get in there. I would give it a chance. Usually it's on sale for $5 on PC, so you don't have much to lose. Of course, there's no AI in this game. You do actually need real players to play, but it is one of the most fun experiences you can have in social games in VR if you can get your hands on it and play with your friends. I definitely recommend it. Werewolves Within coming in at number 1.
Tonight.
Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that video on my favorite games that need a bigger player base on the Oculus Quest 2 and PC VR. There's a lot of good games there to enjoy, a lot of good games that a lot of people have forgotten about that have come to VR. Even some of these games that came out, 5 years ago when the Oculus Rift first came out that I used to love, like Dead and Buried. I have fond memories of that game and a lot of fond memories of some of these games on the list. And there's still a lot more games that could have been on this list as well. I had to show, of course, shorten this list out. There's a lot of good games that came out originally on the Rift days on the PC, and some of those games like that need a bigger player base that I think should still be enjoyed by a lot of people, especially those of us who are getting onto the PC for the first time. And don't forget, even if you have a Quest 2, if you have a compatible PC that is good enough, you could still use the Quest 2 with the link cable or AirLink as well. So you can enjoy some of these PC VR titles as well, even with the Quest, as long as your PC is powerful enough. So if you guys have any questions about what you guys saw in today's video, as always, leave it down below. If not, thank you guys for watching. Until next time.